I want to talk to you guys today about something that's a little bit off the beaten path. It's got to do with the Denver Broncos for sure, but not necessarily the game against the Chargers that looms this weekend. It's something that was a piece of news earlier in the week, and it's something that has just been really just on my mind, and I wanted to use my YouTube channel to talk about it. I referenced it on the air, and I didn't spend a lot of time on it because it's not necessarily about football. But the reaction to my comments on the air about the subject that we're about to broach generated some reaction. I put it on Twitter, 12,000 views, many comments from even folks like Mark Kisla from the Denver Post, my buddy Vic Lombardi over at Altitude. A lot of people were chiming in on this next topic. So the news came out earlier this week that Sean Payton, head football coach of the Denver Broncos, was going to be involved with coaching a flag football team in Saudi Arabia this March. Okay. And this actually has a bit of a backstory to it. Earlier this very summer, news came out that flag football was going to be an Olympic sport in 2028 when the Olympics come back to the United States of America in Los Angeles. And there was a story put out there by Pro Football Talk, the NBC outlet owned by Mike Florio. And the report was that several NFL coaches wanted to coach the first ever flag football team for Team USA. And there is certainly some cachet in that, being the first ever coach for the first ever flag football, the sport of flag football, and the Olympics are going to be held in the United States of America in Los Angeles. So there's going to be a lot of attention around this story. I'm just telling you way in advance, a lot of attention. All right. And just like we harken back and think back to the 1992 Dream Team, that was the first time that pro athletes were ever allowed to play in the Olympics. And we remember it so well, right? The Dream Team, like everyone remembers that. I do believe that flag football will continue to explode. All right. And we will remember the first ever flag football team. All right. Maybe not the same way that we remember the Dream Team, but football is our sport. And it is my anticipation that Team USA is going to win the flag football gold medal. Now, we'll see what it looks like years from now. But the report came out that several NFL coaches were interested in coaching Team USA. And then the report comes out that Pat Surtain, Broncos Defensive Player of the Year, expressed interest in playing for Team USA in flag football. And it was OTAs, and I asked Sean Payton about coaching Team USA based on the report that came out from Pro Football Talk and in conjunction with Pat Surtain saying that he wanted to play for Team USA. So Sean Payton was rather dismissive to my question, which is fine. He gave the old, when's the Olympics? 2028? It was a Thursday, and he said, I'm more worried about Friday. Classic Sean Payton answer. But that answer actually, and that exchange between myself and Sean Payton got picked up nationally by Pro Football Talk. Okay? So it was a really nothing burger at the time. No big deal. He didn't want to talk about it. It was the last day of OTAs. I didn't think the question was going to be appropriate in training camp or mandatory minicamp. So we didn't spend much time on it. Some folks had some fun with me for asking the question. Whatever, that's fine. But here we are a couple months later. Okay, actually, yeah, just a couple months later, about 2 months later. News comes out that Sean Payton is going to coach flag football in Saudi Arabia. Pete Carroll is going to coach flag football in Saudi Arabia. And Kyle Shanahan is going to coach flag football in Saudi Arabia. And some of the biggest names in the sport are going to go to Saudi Arabia and play a flag football game. Tom Brady's going to come out of the booth. He's going to play. Gronk is going to come out of retirement. He's going to play. But some of the best players in the NFL, like Max Crosby or Tyreek Hill, and a lot of these guys are going to be playing in this. I mean, big names, right? But what was left out of the press release of this story all right, is the fact that all of these guys are going to go over to Saudi Arabia, are going to get a massive, massive bag of money. I promise you, a massive bag of money. And this is the latest trend in sport where Saudi Arabia is reaching around the world and grabbing sports stars and affiliating themselves with American sports stars, okay, or European sports stars. We saw Ronaldo get offered $700 million to play soccer in Saudi Arabia. We've seen the Live golf tour. We didn't know Live wasn't a thing 10 years ago. Now it is. And they're paying these guys gobs of money to affiliate themselves with American sports stars or European sports stars. All right. The Saudi Arabia government is at the nucleus of this kind of spending. And we're now seeing it pop up all over. So we have Live Golf. We have the Saudi Arabia soccer team. This week, it was announced that WrestleMania, for the first time ever, was going to leave the United States and go and have its event in Saudi Arabia. And now we have this story with NFL players that are going to go to Saudi Arabia, including the Denver Broncos coach. And I would just say, there are not a lot of people that are eager to talk about this subject. Okay, and it doesn't make me happy or comfortable to talk about it, but I think that sometimes it's okay to say maybe what some other people are thinking or saying the quiet part out loud. Why is Saudi Arabia doing this? The phrase is called sports washing, where you are affiliating yourselves with sports stars or sporting events like a WrestleMania, like this flag football event. And what it does is it normalizes us with Saudi Arabia and makes us comfortable. The reality is, and the facts are, that Saudi Arabia, guys, despite their wealth, and there's no doubt about that, they have been involved in atrocities and human rights violations for a very long time. I remember exactly where I was when September 11th happened. And you do 5 minutes of research on September 11th, and you see the interwoven nature of Saudi Arabia with that event. I'm not here to tell you that everyone from Saudi Arabia is evil or something. Absolutely not. But we can point to a lot of really evil stuff that has happened. And there is a reason. Just ask yourself, why would Saudi Arabia be making such an effort to do this? All these, associating with sports and paying not market value, like 10x. And Sean Payton gets paid nearly $20 million a year by this ownership group to coach his football team. And yet it's still not enough. Tom Brady is on a contract for $375 million. And it's still not enough. And it's now Brady the one that's doing the recruiting. Much like in Live Golf, the first assignment for Live was getting Greg Norman on board. And once upon a time, they were paying him $50 million a year. And then Greg Norman becomes the pitch man for Live Golf. This is happening with Tom Brady. He is now calling people like Sean Payton and getting them on board with this event. But what's not being talked about is the dollar amount that these guys are going to get paid. And you can tell me everyone's got a price. That's probably true for most people. But it doesn't make it right. And I do not believe the head coach of the Denver Broncos should be doing this. And that's my opinion. Okay, that's my opinion. It doesn't mean these guys are bad guys, but again, it also doesn't make it right. And that's what I have to say about this topic. I'm not going to talk about it here moving forward, but I did want to just simply get it off my chest. Guys, please, I humbly ask you, smash that subscribe button. All right. I appreciate you being here. Would love if you like this video, and drop me your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And you will hear more from me tomorrow.